Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, you just reminded me of a story. When I made a handful of videos criticizing China, and I brought a General Spalding who went very hardcore at China, got millions of views all over the place, and he was revealing some things about China. So it was about 6 months of going after China pretty hardcore. One day I get an email from a PR firm saying somebody from China wants to invite you to an event. It's a charity event. I said, okay, so let's do the Zoom. So I got on the call. It's me, Mario, another guy named Gerard, and we get on the Zoom, and we said, so what's the outcome? They want to pay you $600,000. I have this email till today, documented. They want to pay you $600,000, but they want you to give a $300,000 check to XYZ charity. So you get to keep $300,000, but you give the $300,000 to the charity. We'll take care of your hotel, food, flight, everything. Don't worry about it, and we'll give you $300,000. Of course, my answer was no. But why would China do something like that? Why would they want somebody like me to come in to get $600,000 and donate $300,000 to a charity?
Right. So the Chinese approach to soft power is co-opting elites, right? So in China, the elites have all the power, the people have no power. And they assume that's just how the power works. That's just how the world works. So if I'm going to spend money on soft power, that basically means I bribe influential media elite, such as yourself, such as Tom Friedman. So Tom Friedman has visited China quite a lot, and he said very nice things about China. And quite honestly, this works, right? Because if you come over to China, they treat you very well. It's great food. The people are very friendly. They show you the best aspects of China, and you leave with a very good feeling in your heart. So Chinese are very good at co-opting individuals, and they only focus on individuals who have tremendous influence in the world, such as yourself.
It's a brilliant strategy if you're able to succeed with it, and people can come back and being complimentary about it. That's what you want, especially in an enemy state. Last question here with Muslims and how what is the position that Xi Jinping or the Chinese government has towards Muslims, the religion of Islam? Of course, on the outside, they have a lot of relationships with a lot of people. But on the inside, we read about the Uyghurs. We read about the treatment of what's happened in Muslims. We read about how some stories of what they think that religion is all about. What is the sect of Muslims in China, and what is the relationship with Islam and the Chinese government?
Right. So there were some prominent terrorist attacks where Muslims, Uyghurs, launched knife attacks in train stations, killing dozens of Chinese. And a lot of these Uyghurs came back from wars in the Middle East. So these were radicalized people. And there was real fear among the Chinese government that this radicalization had penetrated Muslim society. So there was a massive crackdown across Muslim society. But this goes into a much larger trend in China, which is the promotion of ethnic Han civilization. So China has about 55 minorities. The majority, like 90% of people, are Han. Like I'm a Han person. But there are lots of minorities in the borderlands. And it was a policy of the Communist Party in 1949 to be as tolerant as possible to these minorities, meaning that they were given their own autonomy. Their language was promoted. There was heavy state subsidies to protect their culture, to protect their language, to promote ethnic minorities in mainstream Chinese society. And recently, there's been a push to promote Han nationalism, which means a clamping down on the rights of ethnic minorities. And the most obvious example is that schools, in many places, are no longer allowed to teach a second language. If you're a minority, you're only allowed to learn Chinese as opposed to your local dialect.
Interesting. So does that include English, or they teach you English in China?
They are trying to reduce the teaching of English as well, but it is much too popular among middle-class Chinese who want to send their kids abroad. But the official policy is to promote Chinese teaching over English teaching.
And are there enough, like, the Muslims are fairly If I'm looking at the population right now, it says 20 to 25 million Muslims live in China, right? And roughly 1.5% to 2%. I don't know if those numbers are right or not. That's just, chat bringing that number up. And it explains the largest group being the Hui Muslims, ethnically similar to the Han Chinese, which you were kind of talking about right now. What can they do and what can't they do? Because the Muslim religion in America grows because we have the freedom of speech. You can go out there and be in the streets praying. What can they not do in China?
Look, the reality is that the Communist Party prides itself on being atheistic. So it is trying to downplay religion, not just against the Muslims, but also against Christians, against people of all faiths. And they're trying to promote communist ideology above everything else. So you can be religious as long as you accept that communism is the ultimate God, which means that most people who are religious are not going to accept this, right?
Makes sense. Okay. So is there things that do you know your limits of what you can and cannot talk about yourself? Like, what can you not talk about?
Right. So in China, there are lots of things I cannot talk about, but I'm not on social media. I'm not on Chinese social media. I don't talk to Chinese reporters, so I'm not constrained by this. But because I'm based in China, I also have to watch. I also have to watch what I say overseas, right?